Happy New Year's and welcome to a New Year's quiz of 2024. We're going to start with some warm-up questions and move on from there. So, round one, warm-up. Our first question is, which artists have made these albums? So A, B, C, D, and E. I'll give you about 10 seconds and then we'll move on to the answer. Great job. So the answers then are that A is Lady Gaga, B is U2, C is Bruno Mars, D is Dire Straits, and E is Pink Floyd. Good job if you got that. Great, let's move on to question 2. What color wine do you get from these wine grapes? So A is Riesling, B is Syrah, C Tempranillo, D Chablis, and E Malbec. Give you a couple of seconds and then we'll move on to the answers. So A is then white, B is red, C is red, D is white, and E is red. Good job if you got that. So moving on to question number 3. Give the order when these presidents were when these men were American presidents, first to last. And in A we have then FDR, B is Gerald Ford, C is Nixon, D is John F. Kennedy, and E is Eisenhower. So give the order when these men were American presidents. So the right order is that the first one was FDR, after him was Eisenhower, after that was JFK, then came Nixon, and last Gerald A. Ford. So moving on to the round 2, New Year's questions. So all questions about New Year's, more or less. So the first question is then question 4. January is named after which god? I'll give you a couple of seconds. And the answer is Janus, of course. Moving on to question number 5. Which country island celebrates New Year's first? And it's of course Kiribati or Samoa. Cool. Moving on to question number 6. UK's Prince Harry wrote a book. What was its name? And the right answer is Spare. Moving on to question number 7. The movie Oppenheimer was released this year. What was his first name? And the right answer is Robert. Moving on to question number 8. Buzz Aldrin married Anka Fowler on his 93rd birthday, the 20th of January. What was Buzz famous for? Give you a couple seconds. And he was of course famous being the second person on the moon. Moving on, OceanGate submersible imploded during an expedition to the wreck of Titanic in 2023. What was its name? And the right answer is Titan. Great, let's move on to the Music Rebus round. So the Music Rebus round is that we have certain examples here, and I'm going to give you one just to understand how it works. So you have to put these pictures together to get an artist. So first we have then Ali G, then we have a CIA agent, and then Keys. So it becomes Alicia Keys. And so the first question is then, which band hides behind these images? And it's of course the Eagles. Eagles. And then we have question 11, which band hides behind here? And of course Earth, Wind and Fire. And then question 12, which artist hides behind here? Of course, Ariana Grande. Now we're moving on to round 3, which is from one to the other. And here we're starting on 1 point, and then we're going to move for different questions and get to the last one. So first question is then, which band does this man, Bruce Springsteen, play with? And the answer is, of course, the E Street Band. And Bruce Springsteen has a top song called The River. In the song he sings about how he at 19 years old got Mary pregnant, so they have a wedding. Wedding is also a place or locality in Berlin. So the next question is, what year was the Berlin Wall built? Was it in 55, 67, or 61? So it was built in 61. While in Berlin in 1987, Ronald Reagan called on Mikhail Gorbachev and said, "Tear down this wall." The wall was torn down 2 years later by Mikhail Gorbachev and the Soviet Union, falling not after. But he managed to do one thing before that. He did a commercial for an American fast food restaurant. Which one? So which American company did Gorbachev do a commercial for? Was it McDonald's, Pizza Hut, or Burger King? And the answer was, of course, Pizza Hut. America's country, we all know, famous for Hollywood, larger-than-life sodas, and Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner founded Playboy, which is we all know has a bunny ears in its logo. Bunnies are also called rabbits, and a famous movie containing that name is Jojo Rabbit. So what is the name of the director who directed the film Jojo Rabbit? And the answer is, of course, Taika Waititi. So now we're going to move on to some random questions. So here we have a person who's on an image, and his name is Wilmer McLean. But which answer here is correct? A, the Civil War started and ended at his house. He was hired to assassinate Abraham Lincoln, but John Wilkes Booth beat him to it. Or he was the last slave over in America. And the answer is A, the Civil War started and ended at his house. And he even moved during the process, but it still ended up at his new house instead. So the question 18, the idiot question, fill in the blank from the Forrest Gump quote. Life, like a box of chocolate. What does he say? And he says life was like a box of chocolate. It's not is, it's life was like a box of chocolate. And then move on to question 19. What film are they talking about? So this is a movie that got a 1-star rating on IMDb, and we have to figure out which movie they are talking about. So the movie portrays First Officer William Murdoch in a way that is totally contrary to the truth, but instead suits a particular propagandist position. This is both immoral and grossly hurtful to Murdoch's descendants. No wonder the Chinese government recommended the movie to their people. It amazes me how modern American filmmakers seem to delight in tearing down the society and values that they have grown up in. The film is an insult to all those passengers and crew who showed us such tremendous courage in the face of horrific death. In reality, it was not two 90s-style teenagers who were the heroes. So the movie they're talking about is Titanic. Moving on to question 20. So solve the anagram. Which famous British director hides here between the words Alpenhorn, ostrich? And the answer is Christopher Nolan. Moving on to question 21. What do these people have in common? So we have Adolf Hitler, Rudy Giuliani, Stalin, Martin Luther King, and Queen Elizabeth II. What do these people have in common? And the right answer that they were all Times Magazine Person of the Year at one point. Moving on. And now we're going to go to round 5, the impossible question. So, which country was until 2023 about 0.1 second after all other countries? It's a bit of a tricky one. And the answer was Denmark, and had to do with a law from the 1800s, which is very interesting if you're to check that out. So, moving on to round 7, general knowledge. And we're going to start with question number 23. Name the artist and band of these. So A, B, C, D. Which band are they? So A is then BTS, B is Ed Sheeran, C is the Beatles, and D is Neil Diamond. And question 24. Name the musical instrument on A, B, C, D, and E. Give you a couple seconds. So A is then a bassoon, B is a cabasa, C is a French horn, D is a mandolin, and E is a cymbal. And moving on to last question, question 25. Connect the bird with its name. So the right answer is that A is an American robin, B is a blue jay, C is a European starling, D is a dark-eyed junco, and E is a tough titmouse. Good job! Hope you all scored well. That was all from this New Year's quiz. Hope you have a nice one, and we'll see you the next time. Bye.